All right. This person wants me to explain degrees and hemispheres. Let's see if I can do this within like 90 seconds. Math, be prepared for just a tad bit of geometry because I absolutely hate math. The birth chart wheel is 360 degrees, right? Each house placement has a degree of 30. So the whole wheel makes up 360, meaning planets transit from 0 to 30 degrees. I know that looks like a look, okay? Each section has a critical degree. 0, 13, and 29. Those are your critical degrees. Numerology comes into play here now. Pay attention. 0 is intense new beginnings. 13 is intense midpoints. 29s are very intense endings. Planets that are in any of these particular degrees, we consider karmic because the lessons at the either beginning, middle, or end are greatly intensified. So you're either having intense beginnings, intense middle tension points, or very intense lessons. But 29 degrees indicates the end of that intense lesson or karmic cycle for that planet placement. About orbs really quick. When it comes to orbs, when you see something like 29 degrees, this is what we call the orb. This is what we really start talking about when we are looking at things like aspects and angles. So your squares, your conjunctions, your whatever, right? The range of orbs depend on how close the planets and aspects are basically interacting with each other. I have 0 orb to 3 orb. And it can get bigger depending on if you're talking about fixed stars and stuff, but ignore that. Continuing. The closer the orbs are, the more intense the interaction between those planetary energies. Got it? Good. Okay. This is your most basic understanding of degrees. So once you start getting into like astrology degrees, it'll make this easier to understand, but it's a lot of information. So yeah, book a birth chart lesson with me at that point. So anyway, let's talk about hemispheres. There's a north, south, east, and west on the chart. Each cardinal direction on the wheel itself represents an area of influence that is being affected by the stuff in the chart. So your hemispheres are divided into 4 quadrants like a compass. Your southern hemisphere is houses 7 through 12. It's the top. And then your northern hemisphere is 1 through 6 at the bottom. The top half represents external social influences. This is all your outside stuff. And your 1 through 6 northern hemisphere represents your internal personal development and such like that. You sticking with me? So now we have the left and right sides of the chart. So we have the east and the west. My list. The west is others. It's your community, and it's the top, like this right half. So it's like 9 through 6, things like that. And then your left side is the other side. It's like 1 through 10 or whatever. Like, 4 through 10. I forgot. The eastern half represents the work that you do for others. So, like your rising, your 11th house. This is all the stuff that you do for others. Like your 3rd house is your community, things. So you should, So now all the houses where they are kind of make a little bit more sense. You have your external outside and you have your internal stuff. So your MC, which is your outside, your IC, which is like your inside persona behind closed doors. They are in their respective spots. And then don't forget you have like your 1st house, which is like your outside persona and stuff like that. And then you have your 7th house, which focuses more on like partnership and stuff. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Now, I'm not going to overcomplicate the hemispheres because when we start getting into hemispheres, we're talking about where the planets are actually congregating. And the more planets that congregate in a certain area, that particular influence in that area is emphasized. So that's kind of when you start talking about like T-squares, cradles, stelliums, more so how the planets are grouped and angled together in certain parts of the hemispheres in your chart. So it tells us what area is really emphasized. Is it your need to have partnerships? Is it like in part of the external social area? Is this more like the innovative external social area? Is this more like external interpersonal type of areas? Things of that nature. In my opinion, these are moderately advanced astrology techniques because it does require very heavy basic knowledge and understanding of how the sections of the chart interact with the planets and with the zodiac. So this is a long video. So did that help? Head to my website, trinitystarot.com. I am hosting birth chart courses one-on-one. A one-on-one session with you where you can learn how the energies interact in your chart. You can learn about house placements, planetary placements, and everything that makes a birth chart a birth chart. It's super fun and easy to understand. The vibes are super high. You'll finally be able to grasp astrology TikTok and even your own birth chart. Thank you so much for watching. See you in your next session.